I have the pleasure to present to you Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr.
I am happy to join with you today in what will go down in history as the greatest demonstration for freedom in the history of our nation. Years ago, a great American in whose symbolic shadow we stand today signed the Emancipation Proclamation. This momentous decree came as a great beacon light of hope to millions of Negro slaves who had been seared in the flames of withering injustice. It came as a joyous daybreak to end the long night of their captivity. But 100 years later, the Negro still is not free. 100 years later, the life of the Negro is still sadly crippled by the manacles of segregation and the chains of discrimination. 100 years later, the Negro lives on a lonely island of poverty. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up, live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will they be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream that one day, even the state of Mississippi, a state sweltering with the heat of injustice, sweltering with the heat of oppression, will be transformed into an oasis of freedom and justice. I have a dream. My poor little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream. I have a dream that one day, down in Alabama, with its vicious racists, with its governor having his lips dripping with the words of interposition and nullification. One day right there in Alabama, little black boys and black girls will be able to join hands with little white boys and white girls as sisters and brothers. I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day every valley shall be exalted. Every hill and mountain shall be made low, the rough places will be made plain, and the crooked places will be made straight, and the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all such shall see it together. This is our hope. This is the faith that I go back to the South with. With this faith, we will be able to hew out of the mountain of despair a stone of hope. With this faith, we will be able to transform the jangling discords of our nation into a beautiful symphony of brotherhood. With this faith, we will be able to work together, to pray together, to struggle together, to go to jail together, to stand up for freedom together, knowing that we will be free one day. This will be the day when Sweet land of liberty of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride. From every mountainside, let freedom ring. And if America is to be a great nation, this must become true. So let freedom ring. From the prodigious hilltops of New Hampshire, let freedom ring. From the mighty mountains of New York, let freedom ring. From the heightening Alleghenies of Pennsylvania, let freedom ring. From the snow-capped Rockies of Colorado, let freedom ring. From the curvaceous slopes of California. But not only that, let freedom ring from Stone Mountain of Georgia. Let freedom ring from Lookout Mountain of Tennessee. Let freedom ring from every hill and molehill of Mississippi, from every mountainside. Let freedom ring. And when we allow freedom ring, when we let it ring from every village and every hamlet, from every state and every city, we will be able to speed up that day when all of God's children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, will be able to join hands and sing in the words of the old Negro spiritual, free at last, free at last, thank God Almighty, we are free at last.
And help welcome our honored distinguished guest, the Reverend.
Yes, welcome to Living Life Successfully with Sonja Busha. I tell you, hey, we're celebrating today Martin Luther King Day for all those who are joining me, who are off or wherever you are. I just want to welcome you, and again, thank you for joining. Thank you for tuning in. I tell you, that speech, I never get enough of hearing it. You know, that was one of his most prolific speeches that he gave. You know, I have a dream. And I love the ending part, boy, when he said, when we let freedom ring.
Right.
You know, and I just wanted to start off with playing that today because Martin Luther King Jr. was, you know, not only a minister, you know, of his time, but he became one of the most visible, one of the most visible spokesmen during and of the American Civil Rights Movement, and from 1955 until his assassination in 1968. And even until then, it has now become a federal holiday. And not only that, today it's been 93 years since his birth of January 15, 1929, and 58 years after this historic speech that you heard, I Have a Dream. And that speech still remains, like I said, to be very inspiring and very, you know, needed for such a time as this, what we're going through in 1920. So I'm kind of, you know, when I hear it again, I'm just kind of like, woo, you know, of what we have been experiencing. And today, of course, I have Michael Ray, the card, with me. Today we thought we'd do something different, Money Motivated Mondays. If you've had a chance to sign on to those special workshops that we've been making available during this 90-day push that started at the beginning of January, we're bringing it now. We're taking it to the streets. But I just wanted to introduce you, Michael, let you say hi before I go on about Martin Luther King and just welcome everybody.
Well, good. Hello. How's everybody doing? Thank you for having me again, Dr. Busha. Appreciate it. It's relevant. I mean, I can remember as a kid, he was born the same year that my grandmother was born. My grandmother was born in 29, March the 26th of 1929. So I know that, you know, that's a very significant time frame. Thinking about when I was a kid growing up and doing the Martin Luther King speeches at church and doing stuff like that. Yeah, I can remember having to memorize that I Have a Dream speech. So it's relevant, and it's amazing that as long ago as that was, that we are still having issues, right?
Yeah.
Even though the things have opened up and people can get jobs and have businesses in our industry that we're in, that wasn't prevalent back in the late 60s when he was living. So we've made some headway, but we can't stop. We got to take it to the streets. That we
I
got to
know.
go. We got to go find those people that are looking for the change. We got to get things positioned and situated so it can be something that it's memorizing it and remembering it and bringing it back to
Right.
come to relevance, but making it about a new history, a
Right.
new moment in time. And I'm looking forward to being a part of that. It's going to be powerful. It's going to be very powerful.
Right. And part of that speech, I think what it says, and they have come to realize that the freedom is inextricably bound to our freedom. We cannot walk alone. And as we walk, we must make the pledge that we shall always march ahead. We cannot turn back. And even with that, just thinking about that, we cannot turn back. And his speeches dealt with the word and what we're even facing today, regardless of what we have been facing, to those whatever challenges that you have faced. You have to get in your mind, have a mindset change. You have to look forward and know that there is more, that there is greater in store for you. And if you keep looking back, as I look back, you can't even look forward because you're so busy looking back that you can't see your future that
Right.
God has in store for you. So we have to learn and make that pledge, to our Heavenly Father that, I'm going to stop looking back because he says, this is a new season. Behold, I am doing a new thing in your life. And so, whatever that new thing is, whatever you've been asking, asking God for, whatever your faith is, you got to hone into now. And whatever that now is, like I said today, just thinking about, as we honor Martin Luther King Jr.'s legacy, and not only his legacy, though, but for those who have come before our times to make this way, possible for such a time as this,
Right.
we got to take that and hone in on that, on, this moment.
Amen.
Hmm. You don't have it. You're speechless. Wow.
You put it out there like that. That's
Look,
amazing.
well, you're speechless. Look, I put up one of Martin Luther King's some of his famous speeches, and one of them is life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others?
Mm, that's that's amazing.
Yeah. And
Most
then
people focus on other stuff that's focused on them more so than doing stuff for others. So that's an amazing, amazing
right,
topic.
right. And then life's never succumb to the temptation of bitterness. Our lives begin to the end the day we become silent about things that matter. Like what matter to you? What is your why? What's going on?
Right.
Another one of his famous speeches is, there comes a time when one must take a position that is neither safe nor political nor popular, but he must take it because conscience tells him that it's right.
Oh my God, that is so
Yeah.
powerful. That
Yeah.
that not only powerful back then, but it's still prevalent and powerful today. Because a lot of times we have to do things and we have to go and stand, especially during this pandemic.
Mhm.
People being brave and standing up for what's right. What you need to do. It's not always easy to make that decision, and a lot of people won't. They'll decide to take the easy road and not do it. And so yeah, that's very powerful.
Right. And another one, real quick, because I just want everybody to understand that although this happened a while back, we're still facing, like I said, a lot of different challenges, whatever that challenge may be. I just want to inspire people today.
Right.
This is Living Life Successfully with Sonja Busha, and I want to help people to learn to make it, a lifestyle, whether that be your mind, spirit, your physical being, or your financial status, whatever that may be. You have to learn to be disciplined and be consistent and whatever it is, whatever your why is. And it's not just for that moment, but you have to do things and make it, 30 days to break whatever habit that you have been in, another 30 days to put that new whatever it is that you're trying to do and implement it. And then it takes another 30 days to see how that's going to work and to see some new results. So again, that's where we came up also with the financial transformation, that 90-day push to propel you, to help you accelerate in what it is that you're trying to do. And I was looking at this quote. It says, if you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, Martin Luther King Jr. says, you have to keep moving forward. So no matter where you find yourself, whatever state of mind you may find yourself in, whatever is going on, don't stop. Keep it moving, keep pushing forward, and just know that greater is coming. And some suggested books that I had was, go pick up some of his books. It wasn't just Martin Luther King Jr. And I'm not here to, but I do want to bring this in the forefront, because we are here again for Money Motivated Mondays, but we have to take time to remember those people, those who set that pathway, who were those trendsetters to get us in the position that we are, and what we're doing today. But there are some great books out there. The autobiography of Martin Luther King Jr., Why We Can't Wait by Martin Luther King Jr., A Letter from the Birmingham Jail. That's a great book. And of course, I Have a Dream. And if you have not listened to that speech, rewind my show today, and I played it in full, what they had out there that was available. So, and I do not own the rights to that, but you can get it on YouTube and different places. But again, I just wanted to bring everybody back into that focus today on why. What is your why today? Why are you doing what you're doing?
Right.
And our topic today, of course, is Money Motivated Mondays, featuring you, Michael Ray Picard. So let's take it away. Let's talk about the topic today, money matters. Michael, why is it so important that money matters? I hear there's a lot of controversy and different things about money. So, hey, let's talk away.
All right. I've heard a lot of people say, money is the root of all evil, and money can't buy you love, money can't buy you happiness, money can't buy you peace. I've come to terms with the fact of, if you can't buy it, you can at least put a good down payment on it and and make things better. The Bible tells us that in Ecclesiastes chapter 10, verse 19, that money answereth all things. And so I've heard people say, they're not motivated by money, or that money doesn't move them. And I can't disagree with them, but money is tied to every aspect of life, whether it's the lack of it, whether it's the need of it, or the wanting and having to deal with things that you don't have enough money for it. Even if it's time, if somebody say that, they're motivated to buy their time back, the mere fact of them saying that they have to buy their time back means that there's money tied to it, right? So I don't ever want to be guilty of saying that people, don't know, or that they, they're uneducated or whatever. But at the end of the day, money is a very, very vital tool in life that we need. And in this industry that we've been blessed to be a part of, I mean, with what we're doing and how we're having access to the industry that has changed people's lives, both from the customer aspect of clients that have used our products and services, or the individuals that have been part of the industry to help build the business. It's changed people's lives. I mean, there's been companies that people don't know that have started because of a payout from a policy. And they recognize the names of the artist, or they name the name of the record label or whatever, but a lot of people don't know that if he hadn't been the beneficiary of a policy, we may have never heard of him before. And people just sit back and take things for granted. When you think about things and where we are and where we can be with the pandemic going on, our industry has been just recently has been affected in a negative route where they said that I think we had like a 19 or 16 to 19% fall off. But
Mm-hmm.
comparison to every other industry in business in the world, we still have the longevity of being profitable. And if people are prepared for what's coming, because the pandemic isn't over, but if they're prepared for what's coming, the money situation would not have to be an issue. And that's what I would really like to get the masses of people to see. How could they take advantage of this bad situation, take it and make it something good, and both help people that need it, because there's things that are available now that we have to offer that back when Martin Luther King was living, as well as even when I was in high school and college, we didn't have access to the information and the products and the services that we have access to now.
Mm-hmm.
But now that we do, we got to be on a crusade to get that message out to as many people as possible, as quickly as possible. That's the whole thing, and that's what motivates me to come do the interviews with you, be a
Okay.
part of what you got going on. It's a blessing to be a part of something that's as massive as your movement, and everything with the health and wellness, with the financial services, and just with everything that you put your hands on. I'm looking forward to being able to help you out with that, and whatever God has for me to do, that's what I'm willing to do. That's how we go look at it.
Right. I had a question. So you
Sure.
said that money matters.
Yes, it
And I
does.
was reading a book by Mr. Albright, give him his credit, but he was talking about results of money. And we're talking about money matters. And yes, it does. And what it could do for you, it could change, even depending on what you consider success. But he says, what does bringing in a paycheck represent? Is it just money, or is it money that can now be used to maybe support the local school system or give people who need transportation for their village in Africa a way to get around? Or can it assist somebody who's in need? So when you think about money matters, yes, it does, because, what are some things that having and when I say substantial amount, but I mean, just how can money actually change somebody's address or change the trajectory of their life? Even when I just read this, how it can help even another life.
Right. Well, just think about it. I mean, have you ever been at church or been at a restaurant, and not saying that you was being nosy or ear hustling, but kind of overheard a conversation that people were having and saying that they really had a situation, and they had family or themselves where they couldn't pay their bills or had medical
Right.
expenses and been off of work and lost their job or whatever, and they were facing losing their house or losing their car or anything of that magnitude, right? And just being in a position to where you knew if I had their information, I have enough to where I could make that go away for them, and it not even be about you getting the recognition for doing it, but just the ability to be a conduit, to be a blessing to people, because that's what we're supposed to do. And that
Right.
that's what.
Oh, I have a freeze on my end.
Am I back?
You're back. So you said we are
All right.
conduit and
Conduit is like pipe. Conduit
right,
is like pipe. We're a pipeline to be utilized to be a blessing and not always need a blessing. That's the way I look at it. Is
right,
there's cycles of life that we go through where we may need a blessing, but then when we get blessed and our businesses grow and flourish, then we become a conduit so we can become a blessing to somebody else. And not that we're the actual blessing, it's just that we're the vehicle that's used to be a blessing. And I'm looking forward to being able to do that for a lot of people. That's what
right.
I'm looking forward to.
Well, I like the fact that money does matter. It's, great to have it, of course, because there's so many things that we can do with it to not just for ourselves, but to help others as well as other services, plant school systems, just whatever your vision is. Are you telling me that with what we do with our products and our services, that course, you don't want to look at it like this, but there's we can protect income. We can create wealth, because I heard you say something about businesses being started by people don't understand that there are people who had the right vehicle, the right type of insurance policy, and because their families thought enough to have something in place, that they were doing their due diligence, that they had an opportunity to leave a legacy that would explode the next generation. Did I hear you say something like that, that we have the right policy to do? Or
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. As a matter of fact, the policies and the types of products that we have available to us today, they were actually formulated and created for, we call them trust fund babies, right? So the wealthy people went and had these types of policies created so they could protect their family wealth and keep it circulating and distributing within their families to create family legacies. And so now that we have access to it, we gotta use them. It's
right,
like people say that knowledge is power, but that's not true. Only applied knowledge is powerful. Having
right,
access to the library but never going in it and reading a book doesn't make you more knowledgeable, right?
right,
So that's what we want to do, is now that we know that it's there, now, because when you know better, you're supposed to do better. So now that
exactly,
we know that they're available and they're affordable, our company doesn't overprice them so they can promise to pay the agents more than what they would normally get paid. Our relationships with the carriers and what we have to offer is truly outstandingly amazing. And talking to some of the corporate people at the carriers, as well as the founders of the company, the chairman and I, we have a special bond. So we communicate quite often. And
right,
it is amazing the stuff that he started with, when he was in his early, career of the industry. He's
mhm,
talked about how they've been able to change people's lives, in a very short period of time. There's a new couple that just came into business like 90 days ago, and they've already earned over $200,000. That's crazy. That's
right,
amazing, right? So yes, this business, the financial services side of it, and what we have to offer as far as products and services, it can literally change your life if you make the
right,
decision and put the work in. It's possible.
right.
Absolutely.
Yes, it is. I agree. And so we leave you with today being Money Motivated Mondays. Topic today: does money matter? I would say yes, it does. Um, you're here with Sonja Busha and Michael uh, Ray Descartes. Um, just wanted to leave you with, what are you doing, as Martin Luther King Jr. said, for others? Not just yourself, but what are you doing for others? And I would say in our industry, we're actually changing lives. We're inspiring. We're advocates for, creating generational wealth legacy, whatever that may be. We are helping people protect their income in so many different ways. All you
Right.
have to do is plug in,
That's
get
it.
connected. We need more agents. We're also providing our job opportunities, business opportunities for you to start your own franchise. In this pandemic, we're creating more and more, like I said, business opportunities, careers in this industry, and to get started. So see me, see us. You can look up Michael Ray on social media, or just chime in to Living Life Successfully with Sonja Busha. I would love to hear your comments. I'm on Facebook as well as YouTube. Like the page. I'm just very inspired to be able to do what God has, what our purpose is, and that's to help you change your lives, serve others, and just continue to we're bringing it to the streets. We know, hey, they're closing a lot of stuff out there, so we're learning how to utilize these platforms that we have been given, and we're bringing it to you. So as Martin Luther King Jr. said in the very end, he says, and when this happens, and when we allow freedom to ring, when we let it ring from every village and every hamlet, from every state and every city, we will be able to speed up the day when all of God's children, I love this,
Mm.
he said, we will be able to speed up the day when all of God's children, black men, and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics will be able to join hands and sing the words of the old Negro spiritual, free at last, free at last. He said, thank God Almighty, we are free at last. So I want you to ask the question, are you truly free at last? Are you allowing yourself the opportunity that has been given to you to do what, has been purposed for you to do? Are you dreaming? Are you, doing it or just getting by? Or just what are you doing? What is your why? And so thank you for joining today. Tomorrow it will be Toastsome Tuesday. So make sure you join us again. We're bringing it to the streets, trying to give you something different. I would love again to hear your comments. So please inbox me because we want to bring you what you're missing. We want to make sure you have every opportunity available to get what you need, not just for yourself and your family, but to be that conduit that we were just talking about for others. So I'm going to leave out with one of Martin Luther King's speeches, Juniors. It is, what is your life's blueprint?
Dr. Martin Luther King.
Members of the faculty and members of the student body of Barrett Junior High School, ladies and gentlemen, I need not pause to say how very delighted I am to be here today and to have the opportunity of taking a brief break in a pretty busy schedule in the city of Philadelphia to share with you the students of Barrett Junior High School. And I want to express my personal appreciation to the principal and the administration for inviting me and for giving me the opportunity to see this very fine and enthusiastic group of students here at Barrett. I guess I ought to start out with a commercial.